Well, it is my great pleasure to welcome to our podcast this week a first-time guest on the podcast. It's the IBF Junior Welterweight World Champion, Richardson Hitchins. And Richie, you have an important fight coming up, your first title defense. You're taking on George Kambosos Jr., the former lightweight champ. You'll fight in the main event of the Matchroom card on DAZN at the Madison Square Garden Theater, June 14th. Welcome to the show. Thank you very much for doing this.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me.
It's my pleasure. Before we get into the fight with George, I wanted to just talk a little bit about your fight when you won the title. You became a world champion. Go back to December, and you scored a decision victory over Liam Paro. It was a big step up for you, it seemed to me, based on the opponents you had faced previous to that. He was the champion. He was 25-0. Tell me about your confidence going into that fight, because anybody that follows you knows that you exude confidence.
I knew he was in on my level, and I knew that a lot of the people were looking like, oh, you know, he lost the first 4 rounds or something like that, and his coach woke him up. You look at the fight, even the rounds that I was losing in the early rounds, I wasn't even getting hit, and I felt like, you know, Liam Paro was nowhere near my level. I felt like he was a novice fighter compared to me, and I think that in that fight I showed that. You know, once I took the data that I need to take in, it was easy work, and I don't think he went around from third round up and up. So
that's when the fight was over and you heard it's a split decision. How surprised you were? Because, like you said, I thought, you know, he did well early. It took you a few rounds to settle in, but eventually it was pretty much all Hitchins.
Yeah, I think that, you know, it ain't no surprise. That happened to me before with the Urgenis Mendes fight. It was literally 2 judges had it literally like, I think Urgenis Mendes maybe at most was 2 rounds, and a whole nother judge had me winning at most only 2 rounds. So in boxing, I just feel like when things like that happen and scorecards like that happen, there need to be somebody like watching and, you know, like paying attention and saying, why was your scorecard this or what's this? Because, you know, judges can mess up a whole fighter life, you know, doing with the wrong decision. I don't think that's okay for the sport, and I think that it's fucked up. But God willing, you know, the other 2 judges had it right. And what's crazy about it was one of them was the Australian judge that scored it for me too. So, yeah.
So when you heard and the new IBF champion, that's the moment that every young fighter dreams about. Can you tell me or remember what it was like when you heard those words that every boxer wants to hear?
It was surreal. It was like, whoa, we did it. Like, it was like, yo, we did it. It's a great feeling, you know, because it takes doubts. It's more of a knowing in your head. It's like for your first national tournament. You don't know if you can win it, and then you win your first national, and then you go to the second and third national. It's like, yeah, I know what to do to win this. Like, you know how it feels to go to a tournament. You know what it feels to compete on that level now. So I think that that's just all it is. It's just about, you know, knowing what it takes to compete. And boxing is levels. You know, you got your first TV fight. You might fight your first undefeated fighter, first world title fight. Then you go on, and obviously, and then you get to a level of boxing where a fight is just a fight.
And, well, you're checking all those boxes that you mentioned. You've done those things, and now you're about to check another box. This is going to be your first world title defense. So that's always a big marker in anybody's career. But not only is it your first defense, but you're going to be doing this at home in New York. You're a Brooklyn kid. You're fighting in Madison Square Garden Theater. You fought plenty of your fights in New York through your career. I saw many of your early fights at Barclays Center, those types of fights when you were coming up. But now you're the A side. You're the main event. You're defending the title. Can you tell me a little bit about what it means to you to have gone through the road that you just talked about and now get to the point where you're not only defending a title but doing it in the main event at home?
It feels great. You know, defending my title at home. You know, just long road. I remember going to the Barclays Center, seeing Danny Jacobs, Adrian Bronner, Tank Davis, you know, in the Barclays Center, headlining big cards in New York, you know. Then and into the current time where you had guys like Edgar Berlanga bringing headlines to New York City. And then every time there was a big fight in New York, I'd be like, damn, I can't wait to be the headline. But then I would have never thought my first headline in New York would be as the world champion, bringing the title back home. That's like even bigger for me. And I feel like the city, you know, the city haven't had a world champion in so long. And for me to be the world champion I am, I'm from New York. I'm really a New Yorker. I'm flamboyant, you know, I got charisma, you know, so I think that it brings even more energy and more spark to fight fans from New York. So I think it's big for me, you know. just to see everybody, a lot of people that doubted me, a lot of people that overlooked me, didn't really think that I would get to where I was getting to. But the people that knew talent, the people that knew what I was capable of, and my potential, they're not surprised. But it's just finally, we're here. Let's celebrate. So it's big.
How hard is it going to be to sort of keep your emotions under control in the circumstances? You're I don't think it's a secret to say you're a little bit of an emotional guy in terms of like you're outspoken and you don't have a problem speaking your mind. But when it comes fight night, you got to kind of control the emotions. How is he going to do that? You know, given how excited you are about the scenario of being at home and defending the title.
Being in the ring is being in the ring, and I think 3 steps ahead. It ain't about this ain't a do or die moment. There'll be another time to headline and another big fight, another time. So it's just another day of boxing. This is it's a small card. It's not that big. It's not a big opponent. It's a title defense versus George Kambosos. I'm training extremely hard, but it's not a crazy moment for me. It's not a fucking like Yankee Stadium 80,000 meet for like 100 belts on the line, 100 million Turkey giving me the gold belt. Like to me, it's like I know the places I'm going to. Another day, another dollar.
So you mentioned about sort of at some points in your career, a lot of people didn't know you, maybe overlooked you. You had been a little bit inactive, even when you were boxing with PBC. It wasn't in the higher profile type of cards, or at least in terms of your exposure on those cards. In 2022, when you guys parted ways with PBC, and you went and you signed with your manager, Keith Connolly. He brought you to Eddie Hearn. You guys did a deal there. And ever since then, you've been pretty active, relatively speaking. You've been fighting your 2 fights a year. You've gotten exposure. You've gotten, obviously, the opportunity to fight for the title. You won the title. And I'm wondering, what has it meant that linking up with Keith meant? Because to me, it seems like that really changed the trajectory of your career in terms of getting not only opportunity, but exposure.
Yeah, it changed my career. It was a move I wish I would have did a year earlier or 2 years earlier before that. But everything happens for a reason. A lot of people around the New York area was telling me you need to get with Keith Conley. You need to get with Keith Conley. And I seen the things he was doing, fighters like Edgar Berlanga, heard about his track sheet with Danny Jacobs. And I just always knew the level I was on. So I said to myself, if he could do that with those fighters, I couldn't imagine what me and him could do together. And he told me we need some time to catch up. We're gonna get you a few fights, and we're gonna bring some structure to your career. I'm gonna get on my job. You do as long as you do your job. This is the plan, and everything is going according to as planned. I think that he's a manager that he's about his business. He's a shrewd businessman, and I'm a hard worker. I'm a talented special fighter. So I think the things that we could do in the sport of boxing, on the business side, and as far as the legacy side, I think it's going to be major. So I'm just excited for you guys to sit back and just watch. And all he said to me that we have some time to catch up to your peers, but once you catch up, we take off. So now this is the point where I'm building my resume. I'm building my portfolio to catch up with the Teofimos and the Devin Haney's, the guys that have been here before me. And yeah, once I get to that even playing field with them, and my name is just as big as them, it's lit.
So you mentioned about your fighting Kambosos. You said, "Oh, it's not that big of a fight," and I just wonder, you've been outspoken about Kambosos. You guys have had plenty of back and forth with each other on your social media and in the build up to the fight. I get the feeling, you kind of don't like each other. George has always been a guy to talk about his opponents. What is it? What is it that annoys you about him? What is it? Is it more than just hyping up the fight?
Nah, I just feel like he just think like I'm just like a regular guy. I don't like when fighters like try to downplay my skills. I take that very personal. So I think that he don't know what's in front of him, and I think that it's not about the crowd or da da da. Like I'm gonna make a movie on him. Like I'm gonna show if George Kambosos if he don't come in there and prove that he's on an elite level of boxing, if he don't come in there, I am gonna show him that he's a fucking bum. And I believe he's a bum. So if he's the guy that I'm watching on TV, he's the guy that I'm seeing as a friend of Devin Haney's. If he comes in as that same guy, it's gonna be a messy night for him, and I can guarantee you that.
So he's back in the same building at the theater where he scored his biggest win when he became the unified lightweight champion against Teofimo in a huge upset. That was back in 2021. He hasn't really done anything since then, to be honest. I got nothing against George, But he's 2-3 since then. A lot of folks would say he's 1-4 because a lot of people thought he lost that fight against Hughes. He got wiped out 2 times by Haney, who you mentioned. He got knocked out in a one-sided fight by Lomachenko. He's had one lower level win at 140, and I wonder, do you think he even deserves to fight for the world title because he hasn't really done anything at 140, and the end of his days at 135 were certainly nothing to write home about?
George Kambosos has been a bum before that. He's been a bum. He beat Teofimo Lopez. Teofimo Lopez is a talented fighter, like I said before. He's a talented fighter, but IQ-wise, this is how I look at boxing. You got guys that, if I have 2 little kids walk into the gym right now, and I tell them both to throw a 1-2, one might throw it faster, one might throw it slow, one might throw it faster and harder, one might throw it slower and not that hard. That don't mean the other fighter is a better fighter. It just means that fighter is just a talented fighter. Teofimo showed he's a talented fighter with boxing experience, but as far as IQ, as far as the shit that he need, as far as the shit that he needs to like compete at a high level of boxing, he don't have that. He showed that since the amateur days. If you're a guy that like any guy that Teofimo's not me. Like he's not. It's 2 different styles. 2 different. My body type, my arm reach, my speed, Teofimo is an athletic, twitchy, fast dude and talented. He's not me. He's not me, and I know this for a fact. If you know boxing, it's not. I can make a fight look way easier than Teofimo can, and if you know boxing, you would agree. But if for the people that don't know, I'll just show them. It is what it is. You know, like in boxing, fighters like me got to prove they so. You know, people will listen and be like, all right, he says this, he says that. But till you get to the Canelos and the Mayweather level, then it's like, oh, okay, yeah, this guy been saying this for years. He's not lying when he say it is, but Teofimo and me is not the same fighters. I'm a way better boxer than Teofimo.
Well, since you think you're going to win this fight so easily, I know that you have aspirations for bigger fights. There was some conversation before this match was made between yourself and Kambosos about you fighting against Teofimo. He's the champion in your division. He has the WBO title. He's the lineal champion. You've got the IBF title. You are both with Keith Connolly as your management. Is that a fight that you want down the road? Or like, what are your aspirations for the so-called big fight, at 140 pounds?
He has plans right now. I definitely want to unify with one of the 140 champions. And then I want to go to 147. Or if I get a big fight, I want to go to 147. I don't want to stay at 140 too long, especially with the IBF. I don't want to hold on to the IBF too long. So I just want to make the best out the belt and go up to 147 and grab a strap up there and, make big fights up there. But right now, it's just one fight at a time. And George Kambosos is the guy in front of me. So this is the guy we got to get, past.
When you say you don't want to keep the IBF belt, you specified the sanctioning body. I know there have been champions of the IBF. The one thing that they don't like, they love having the world title, obviously, but they don't like that Saturday morning or the day of the fight weight check. That's a 10-pound limit. Is that why you say that about the IBF?
Yeah, they need to change that shit.
So if you fight a unification fight, they waive that.
Yeah.
But so is that one of the reasons that you'd love to unify? You got other good champions at weight class. Puello is fighting coming up in July against Matias, who was a former champ. You got the very talented Gary Antoine Russell with the WBA title. Any of those guys tickle your fancy?
Any of them guys. Teofimo is definitely the more high-profile fight, the more easier fight to make because he's with Keith Connolly also. And, with Turkey now, anything is possible. So maybe after this fight, the winner of Puello and Matias, we'll see what Russell has a title defense. I think he has coming up with the Asian guy. So, I'm hearing Teofimo has, other plans with other fighters. Or we'll just do another defense or, I don't know. So right now, I can't think too much. I got to box Devin. I got to box George Kambosos on June 14th. And after me and him is done boxing, we'll figure out who the next guy they'll put in front of us.
All right, so just to wrap it up then, with the fight coming up against Kambosos, you've said that he's a bum, basically. You've said that you're going to beat him easily. I wonder, you put yourself in a little bit of a corner where even if you go out there and you win the fight, but maybe it's close, maybe it's not so dominant, maybe you have a little bit of a rough moment, that you'll get the win and still be champ, but you'll emerge from that where people might downgrade you because you didn't live up to the big boast that you're making leading into the fight.
I believe every fight that I fought as a professional, I dominated. Even in the fight, I think the only fight that I haven't completely dominate is the Gustavo Lemos fight. And if you really watch that fight, from fourth round all the way up to the seventh and eighth, before that hiccup, they were saying Hitchins starting to dominate this fight. As the words the commentators used, and Lemos obviously called me with the big shot in the eighth, and he put himself back into the fight where he took the momentum away from me. So I believe in my skills. And I believe at all my professional fights, I put on dominant performances. The Liam Parrow fight, they said I was losing from the fourth round and up. It was pure domination. So I believe that with George Kambosos, I erase the mistakes I've made in them fights where I did lose the momentum from me dominating, and I stay consistent. I will dominate him. So I think that at the end of the day, yeah, it can. Obviously, me talking like that can fuck my stock up. But if I didn't say anything about George Kambosos and I was just plain on just not doing interviews and just keeping it platonic, people still would have had to say what they would have said. They were like, he's definitely can't beat the other 140 champions. He struggled with George Kambosos. Kambosos is 2-4 in his last. They would have did the same shit regardless. So to me, it's like, why not talk shit? It's like, fuck it. Like, I bet the people don't like me anyway because I've talked shit in the past. So me not talking shit about Kambosos don't erase if I have a bad performance with him or not. So it is what it is.
Well, Rich, I enjoy the trash talk from you. It's always amusing to me. I appreciate. I can appreciate it. I appreciate the trash from George also. He makes it fun. I wish you the best of luck in the fight coming up June 14th, Richie. Thank you very much for the time and good luck to you, my man.
Thank you. Appreciate you.